Hey, what's up, everybody? The Fish Tank Guy here, and welcome to the Fish Tank Guy podcast episode. I don't know, and the date is Thursday, May 10th, 2018. Now, guys, look, I realize that I have not put out a podcast in some time. That is 100% my fault, but I've had a lot going on lately. I'll tell you guys a little bit about it, and then we will move forward with the podcast. Today, I'm going to tell you in advance, like I do on every podcast, that I'm going to try to keep this one to about 30 minutes or less, only because I have to go somewhere shortly. So will that happen? Probably not. Will I try for it? Yes. Okay, so some of the things that have been going on. Well, there was a brief period of time where I thought I was going to be moving across the country. I don't think I talked about this on the other podcasts, the previous podcast, but I'll just mention it now. I thought I was going to be moving across the country. So there were a lot of discussions about, whether that was a good idea in my household. And then here I was thinking, what's going to happen to the channel? What am I going to do with all my tanks? That's a small piece, right, of that whole puzzle. But for the part that you guys are worried about, or maybe you're not worried about it, I don't know. But the part that you guys interact with, I would say, which is my YouTube channel and the podcast for all 5 of you listening here, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to keep doing these things. So that was one thing I was thinking about. And then I was thinking about my job, family, and a bunch of different things. But long story short, we are staying at least for the foreseeable future. There might be a time when I move, but it's not going to be happening, right now. So I'm going to continue moving forward with the channel as normal. I'm going to be working on the fish tank tower. I'm going to be continuing the podcast, which is awesome. And once again, I just really appreciate your guys' support. So now we are into May. We are reaching the end of May. Right now it's the middle of May, but the end of May is soon. And that means we've got Memorial Day and we've got summer. So for me, that means we have a camp lot that we have to maintain. So thus far this year, I've spent more time maintaining the camp lot than I have my own house. So yeah, it's a lot of work. We have a big deck on the camp lot, and we have to stain it and clean it and power wash it and all that good stuff. But home is starting to catch up a little bit because we have a pool. At the new house, we have a pool. I never wanted a pool, but we have a pool. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that comes along with that, like putting in chemicals and shocking it and making sure the water's clean, running the filter and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. So I've been working on that a lot too. How about you guys? What have you been up to? Do you have any summer plans? Are you going on any trips, vacations, anything like that? I haven't been on a vacation in quite some time, but hopefully that's going to happen soon because we sold our other house. Finally, I'm going to be closing on that house either tomorrow or early next week. So thank goodness that I don't have that double mortgage payment anymore because that's been killing me. So, all right, yeah, that's about it. Don't have any other updates really. Video game wise, I've been 100% playing Fortnite, which is a problem. I'm somewhat addicted to it. I have 14 solo wins and 4 duo wins, and every time you get that solo win, you're like, gosh dang, son, like, boom, do work. I go crazy. I get really pumped when I get that solo win. But I'm not like very good at the game. I'm one of those people that kind of like sneaks around and like squirms my way into the top 5, and I end up winning with like, oh no. I'm not gonna start that. I hope. I like worm my way into like the top 10, right? And I end up winning games with like 2 and 3 kills. So I'm not like one of those awesome Fortnite players who builds like crazy fast and is super good and gets like 10 kills a game or anything like that. But every now and then I manage to squeeze out a win, which is great. And then I would say, in addition to that, I have been playing another game. I bought Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Switch, which I never played for the Wii U because I didn't have a Wii U. And I had heard really good things about it, and the game is awesome. I think I just started the 3rd world, so I beat the first 2 bosses, and I'm into the 3rd world, maybe 2 or 3 levels in. And the game is so cool. It's so fun. Like, the platforming is really good, and the level design is awesome. I just played this level called Groove something. I think it was Groove. I don't remember what the other word was, but it was in the jungle. And basically, like, everything in the level like moves to the beat of the music. It's similar to like levels from Rayman Legends, but it's a little bit different. I don't know how to describe it, but that game is awesome. So if you guys haven't played Fortnite yet, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's free. Fortnite Battle Royale is free. If that is not your thing, if that's not your speed, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Switch is awesome. I'm going to put a link for Tropical Freeze on both the Wii U in case you have one, and also the Switch. Highly recommend it. Like I said, I've been playing games for over 25 years, so if I say a platformer is like really good because I've played a ton of them, then it's pretty good. So that's the video game update. Not a whole lot going on there. In terms of tanks, I don't know how long I've been going. I've been going only 5 minutes, so I'm shooting for that under half an hour mark. So in terms of my tanks, the fish tank tower is coming together. I have to pick up the piece of glass that I shattered. I had another one made for the tank lid. I shattered one of them. It slipped out of my hand and broke. And then everything is pretty good with the fish tank tower. It's actually cycled. I just posted a video on the 10-gallon nano reef today, which you guys haven't seen in some time. The BioCube is just kind of floating along. I haven't really done anything with it. I haven't been keeping up with it either. It kind of looks ugly at the moment, to be honest with you. And besides that, I'm going to be moving things from the 10-gallon nano reef and the 5-gallon pico reef into the fish tank tower very soon, and doing like a big, I can't stop yawning. I'm just going to do a big like reveal video, which is going to be cool. I'm going to have like a sheet in front of it, right? And just pull the sheet down, and like you guys can check out the fish tank tower. It's going to be awesome. It looks really cool, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And hopefully if the tank works out well, the tanks work out well, it could be something you guys could try at home. I know one of the big issues that people had was they were concerned that the racks might not hold the weight. And I've had those tanks on the fish tank tower for a month and a half full with all the rocks, and I haven't seen any bowing or anything like that. So that's very positive in terms of that rack working out for the fish tank tower. So that's good. So, let's do 5 movie reviews in 5 minutes or less. I got to hit that 5 minutes or less. Then I'm going to do how many fish should you keep in your tank? Saltwater edition, right? Because fresh and saltwater are different. So that's going to be my question this week. How many fish should you keep in your tank? And then we're going to end with the fish of the week. And obviously we're going to peruse some of the message boards there when we do the topic of the week. And then, like I said, we'll end with fish of the week. And then we'll get done in under half an hour because I got 23 minutes left. So I'm doing pretty good. All right. So let's bring up the movie reviews. I've got 2 newer movies. I've got 3 older movies. And let's start with the older movies. First movie, Girl with All the Gifts. It is a zombie movie. I might be a little biased in terms of how much I like it because I did read the book, and I don't read very often. So the fact that I read the book, man, I was like jacked to see the movie because the movie came out like literally a couple of months after I finished reading the book, and I had no idea that was happening. So the Girl with All the Gifts is essentially about a girl who is immune to the zombie virus, and there are other kids that are immune as well, and they are trying to figure out what makes them immune. It's similar to what's been done in other stories, I would say, but there are some unique elements to it. I really liked it. I would give it an A-. If you didn't read the book, maybe it would be like a B+, B. I would recommend it though. I'll put links for all the movies down in the video description so you guys can check them out if you want or you're interested. The next one is called Going in Style. This was an older movie with Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, Alan Arkin. 3 older men decide, I put a little synopsis here, 3 older men decide to rob a bank so they can enjoy their retirement. I didn't think the movie was hilarious, but I thought it was funny like throughout. There weren't a ton of laugh out loud moments, but like I had a smile on my face while I was watching it. Obviously, those 3 are great actors. They work really well together. So that was like a really funny, light, feel-good movie and had a great ending. So I gave that a B+. Definitely recommend that. Guys, for me, I can't even. I just can't. I can't stop yawning. All right. The next one, The Big Sick. You guys might have heard about this. This is a comedy about an Indian man who dates and falls in love with a white girl. She falls ill, and she happens to fall ill after they get into like a fight where they sort of break up. It has Ray Romano in it as the dad. I can't remember the guy's name. Shoot. I don't know. You guys have probably seen advertisements for it. I thought it was a really good movie. It wasn't quite as funny as I was expecting it to be, but I thought it was still really good, and I gave it an A-. All right, on to the two newer movies. A new movie that I watched was called All the Money in the World. It's essentially a movie about the grandson of the world's richest man being kidnapped. Now, the world's richest man, despite being a multi-billionaire, he's very stingy with his money, and he believes that the kidnapping is like a hoax and that it was kind of arranged by the grandson in an effort to get money, and it turns out it was not a hoax. So it's based on a true story, which was very interesting. I didn't read any of the background on the true story, but I thought the movie was pretty good. The ending wasn't as good as I hoped it would be, but it kept me guessing, what's going to happen, how's this going to pan out throughout the entire film. So I thought that was really good. I thought it was worth watching once, but it wasn't great. I gave it a B-. So it was pretty interesting. If you're into movies that are based on true events and true stories, it's definitely one to check out. And the last movie is called The Florida Project. It's more of like an indie film. It is a movie about life in low-income housing. They center that movie around a young girl, I think she's about 10 years old, who is very happy and full of life, but she's also kind of very rebellious. But she has a mother who is less than optimal, I would say. So her mother doesn't really hold a job, and she smokes, and I can't remember if she does drugs in the movie, but she's just I don't know. She gives you this feeling of it's hard to watch, right? It's hard to watch a girl who's so happy and so full of life and kind of optimistic about life, have a mother who's just cringeworthy. You know what I mean? So it was very good, and then it's a very real look at what low income housing is probably like. I'm blessed enough that I have never had to be in that situation, but I think that that's a part of our society that we don't really talk about very often, and this movie brought that to light. It was very interesting. It was kind of a strange movie in that there wasn't really a main plot and a climax and a conclusion and everything like that. It was just sort of a peek into that life, you know what I mean? And it did end with a pretty significant event, but it was really good. William Dafoe was the manager of the complex where the girl and her mother lived. He was really great in the movie, and I thought overall it was just very good. I gave it an A-. A- would mean it was really awesome and I'd like to watch it again. This is one of those movies that I gave an A- to, but I don't think I'd watch it again. Just because it was kind of tough to watch at times, but it was very good in terms of shining some light, shining light on a very real problem that we have here in the United States. So there are my 5 movies in 5 minutes or less. I did it in 5 minutes or less. Boo-yah, son. All right, now, if I can stop yawning for 5 seconds, let's move on to how many fish in an aquarium. So I get this question sometimes on my videos. How many fish can I put in a gallon tank? How many fish can I put in a gallon tank? 10, 20, 50, whatever. I don't know why I said it twice. Maybe just to emphasize the fact that I get that question quite often. I don't know. Anyway, so there are very different schools of thought about how many fish you can put in a tank. There are 2 schools of thought in terms of the way you should look at it. The first is, how many fish can I put in this tank? Then the second school of thought is, how many fish should I put in this tank? So you're going to want to think about yourself, and your whatever, how you feel about things, and figure out what camp you fall into. Some people, if you only have 1 tank, you're kind of on the can side because you want a lot of fish in there. Some people have really big tanks or multiple tanks. They're more on the should side because they have more opportunities to have fish, that kind of thing. I'm fighting back a yawn, people. All right, so let's just see what some of the websites have to say. All right, we're on saltwateraquariumblog.com. How many fish in an aquarium? How many fish in an aquarium? A few things to think about beyond the inches of fish per gallon rule. So that's like the standard rule, okay? All right. For years, reef enthusiasts have sought after the holy grail of answers that could be applied to aquariums of all sizes. But in reality, the answer should be, it depends. Sad panda. All right. All right, when I started out in the hobby, the most common advice that was passed around was usually some rule of thumb based on a number of inches of fish per gallon. What I recall, between half to 1 inch of fish per gallon. But the problem with the inches per gallon rule is it depends. Okay. Size matters, but the problem is that the size of a saltwater fish is relative. Most of the fish you see at your local store are either juvenile or young adult fish that with luck will grow in your tank. So how are you supposed to accurately estimate how many inches of fish you have per gallon if the number is going to be totally different 4, 5, or 6 months from now? Okay, it's not about the number of inches, it's about how you use them. This article is very cheeky. Another problem with the inches per gallon rule is that it doesn't take the compatibility of fish into consideration at all. If you have a 55-gallon aquarium, for example, you may be excited to think that you could have 27 to 55 inches of fish, depending on whether you embrace that rule. But if the fish you want to add are jawfish and engineer gobies, your aquarium probably doesn't have enough space for a pair of each, which is maybe only 16 inches in total fish length, even if you keep the rest of the tank empty, because both species are competing for the same space at the bottom of the aquarium. All right. Let's see. There's a lot to this, so I'm just going to try to pick and choose some pieces. Speed kills. You could have a 70-gallon tank, but if you added 35 inches of fish at the same time, you would probably destabilize the biological filter and end up with a bunch of dead fish instead. All right. Let's see. Oh, the other thing that is interesting about this article is the 0.5 to 1 is something for a per gallon is something that I've heard for freshwater fish, not saltwater fish. What I have heard is 1 inch of gallon or 1 inch of gallon for 5 gallons of fish. 1 inch of fish for 5 gallons of water for saltwater tanks. So that's interesting. We'll explore that a little bit more. So they have a bunch. They say conclusion, how many fish can you have in your reef tank? The answer is that depends. So, well, thanks for nothing. Saltwater Aquarium blog. I'm Xing you out, son. All right, let's go to the spruce. The spruce is a source that we tap into quite often here on the podcast. And the question on their website that they are posing is, how many fish can I put in my saltwater aquarium? Very specific, okay? This was updated on 4/16 of this year, so this is the newest of the new technology and information about saltwater fish. Okay. Oh, all right. Here we go. Rule of thumb. The short rule of thumb answer generally accepted in the marine aquarium hobby is 1 inch of fish per 5 gallons of system salt water. That other page was no good. The normal response to this answer is that all? Why so few? That's what I thought when I first got my tanks as well. The longer answer to the question is a bit more complicated and takes longer, which is why the shorter, easier answer is normally given. Okay? Potentially, you can house more fish in a marine aquarium than the rule of thumb allows. All right? However, most saltwater aquariums, especially new tanks with minimal filtration, lack a really efficient biological filtration system which can process the fish waste. All right, saltwater critters are much more sensitive to tank toxins than freshwater fish. And aquarium filtration systems which facilitate gas exchange. I'm going in the rabbit hole. I'm not going to, you guys don't care about all this. You just want the answer here. That's what we go. We go for the answer here on the podcast. We don't go for the scientific. We go for how we feel. We're all about feelings here. Not really. Okay. How many fish? Another heading. How many fish? The types and species of fish as well as the mix in the tank makes a difference. Here we go again. Another wishy-washy answer. Okay, so at the end of it all, they say again, like, well, it depends on the type of fish. This size fish might not do good in this size tank. Don't say anything. All right, so we're going to go to their conclusion. The 1 inch per 5 gallons rule of thumb may be a bit conservative for the experienced aquarist with a tank, which has been running well for some time. But the novice would be wise to follow the rule. It's better to be safe than sorry there. All right, so 1 inch of gallon, 1 inch of fish per 5 gallons of water in a saltwater tank. All right. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. All right, I have another one. I'm not going to read this one. I'm going to get rid of this one. Let's go to the message boards. This is my favorite place to go here on the podcast because message boards are fun, because people are fun. I'm at 20 minutes. Dude, I'm killing this podcast, man. I'm at 20 minutes. I'm going to come in at a crisp under 30-minute mark. It's going to be awesome. All right. Here is a message board thread called How Many Fish? Pretty straightforward. The original poster's name is Motor Slave. And he says, well, here I go with another beginner question. How many fish is too many fish? I'm going to be doing a 55, aiming for 300 watts of lighting, an end-to-end rock, and gradually add coral, add spelled with 1 D, as I... as I learn about them. This is probably a very general question considering all the variables that go into a healthy reef, spelled R-E-F-F, ref, but is there some sort of guideline? Johnny responds, he says, I have never heard of a guideline that would hold water, pun. All right. There's so many factors. Okay, you're wishy-washy, Johnny. Wishy-washy. Alice here says, the famous fish question. She says the very general rule of thumb is the 1 inch of adult fish per 5 gallons of water. Then she talks about specific tanks and then mentions a bunch of fish that are good choices for 55-gallon tanks. Let's see. Somebody called Fish Noob says, after the death of my first fish, I'm going to start with clowns in a month and then try a tank. My tank is a 90-gallon, so the advice will not be wise, but I heard Ocellaris is a sort of an all-around newbie fish. Those tanks are pricey and a bit tougher to take care of. So I'm waiting another month before that purchase. Okay. Dory fish, also known as regal or hippo tangs, can grow to approximately 10 to 14 inches in length. Definitely not good for a 30-gallon. Apparently this guy mentioned getting a tank somewhere. And that was one thing about the Finding Nemo movie that a lot of animal people were kind of upset about. I remember reading something about this in the news, that like the fish that were in that movie are not necessarily fish that anybody should just go out and get, especially Dory. Like Ocellaris clownfish, those are fine, but like Dory is like a tough fish to take care of and can get very big, and people were concerned because folks are watching this movie and their kids were like, oh, what was this fish, right? And they were going out and they were buying the fish and they were killing a bunch of them. Let's see. Okay, so this guy, all right, the original guy has a 55. This guy has a better answer, okay? His name is Oodly Boodly. He says, IMO, you are better off thinking in terms of maintaining between 4 and 7 small fish max, and the actual number will depend on which species you try to keep together. This guy has 7 fish in his 55-gallon tank, and his tank is heavily stocked. It also contains 5 years growth of soft coral, plus some stars, hermits, and snails. Hope this helps. So it gives you at least some guidance, right? Let's see. That thread was you are the weakest link. Okay. Let's go to the next one. How many fish in a 20-gallon tank? I chose this thread because I have 20-gallon tanks on the fish tank tower, and I'm assuming some of you do as well. The first person said, I have 1 clown in my 20-gallon. How many more fish? Yeah, I'm trying to hold back a yawn. Maybe it's because I'm like not breathing enough, like while I'm talking. Like I'm just talking so fast that I'm not like getting enough breath. So I'm gonna try to slow down a little bit. But I only have 5 minutes left, so I'm not gonna be able to do that. All right. This person said I'd say 2 to 3 more small fish. So that's like a total of 3 to 4 fish in a 20 gallon. Let's see. This person says the same. So if you get 4 3-inch fish, that is 20 gallons worth. But also remember, the bigger the fish, the more room they need to swim. Take that into account. This person said I would keep no more than 3 small fish in a 20 gallon, maybe a clown, a goby with a pistol shrimp, and a 9 or a 6-line wrasse, and that is it. They need their own space. Okay. Skabuya says, yes, I 100% agree with Jenny Butterfly, which is the last one I answered. And anyway, the less fish, the better. It's easier on the fish and cleanup of your tank. I'm turning my 20-gallon high into a nano, and I will be only adding 3 fish, maybe only even 2. The next person, Jenny Butterfly again, says, yes, I only have 2 fish in mine. Bobodian says, I would say you could keep 4 small fish and be fine. So you can add 2 to 3 more for 4 total. Let's see. So I would say in general through this thread, a lot of the people down here are similar answers. They're saying like 3 to 4 fish in a 20-gallon tank, and that's a 3 to 4 smaller fish. All right, here's a big one. How many fish? Not really a big one. How many fish in a 10-gallon tank? I get this question a lot because I have the 10-gallon nano reef on a budget video, and I get a lot of questions about that. All right, so let's see what some people have to say. Right, me personally, I have 2 Oscillarius clowns in my 10-gallon tank, and I think that's good. All right, so H. Vani says, I think a clownfish and a small goby would be nice. Somebody said, the goby man says, you could definitely put a smaller clown in there and then probably put 1 more fish. Nheart608 says, I have an Oscillarius clown and a bicolor blenny in my 10-gallon bicolor. Ooh, okay. No aggression problems. They both seem very happy, so that's good. 2 fish. Vang says, clown plus goby for the low-risk approach of aggression, or 2 smaller clowns, which is what I have, would be fine. You will run into normal clown pair aggression risks, though. Okay, that's true. This person says, definitely get a goby. I have a yellow watchman goby. I've had him for 5 years. I love Ron, my yellow watchman goby. B. Daniel says, I have 1 clown and 1 cleaner shrimp in my tank. Michelle's husband. Oh, that guy is whoosh, like crazy. Michelle, his screen name is Michelle's husband. Oh man, this guy said, I had 1 clown, fire goby, yellowtail damsel, chromis, and 1 other fish in my 10-gallon. Wow, that's 5. I wouldn't do that. This guy had 5 too. Oh, okay. In my old 10, I had 2 baby clowns, 2 yellowtail damsels, and a diamond goby. I upgraded to 29 when space issues started, so he couldn't keep them. Dallas something says I'd go with 2 fish, maybe a clown and some sort of goby. So there you go. With a 10-gallon tank, it's about 2 fish. With a 20-gallon tank, it's about 3 to 4 fish. And the general rule of thumb is 1 inch of fish per 5 gallons of tank. Now, you're going to want to do your research before you go out and you get your fish, because you want, like, the compatibility thing that people talked about. You want to make sure you have fish that get along, especially if you have a smaller tank. You know, they're going to be around each other a lot, and they might tend to get aggressive and pick on each other if you don't get compatible fish. So right now, I'm almost at 29 minutes. I'm probably not going to hit 30 minutes. I want to give the fish of the week its due place in the spotlight. So I'm not going to rush through it, but I'm just going to say I was very close to 30 minutes. I was very close. I've been like at 40 and 50 lately, so like 32, 33 is going to be really good. And I think my video froze. I hope it didn't freeze. Okay, I'm just going to go. I'm going to continue here. The fish of the week is the bicolor dotty back. I will post a link to the fish in the video description so you guys can check it out. Right now it's on sale on Live Aquaria for only $9.50. The care level is easy. The temperament is semi-aggressive. The color form is purple and yellow. I feel like I might have done this fish before. I don't know. I need to start writing these down. So if I did this fish already, I'm sorry. The diet is carnivore, reef compatible, yes. Max size 3 inches. Minimum tank size 30. That's a stretch. All right, let's read the overview. The bicolor dottyback, also called the bicolor pseudochromis or royal dottyback, is 2 bold colors. That's right, 2. The anterior portion is purple, and the posterior portion is bright yellow. The anterior being the front or face of the fish, and the posterior being the butt or back of the fish. A 30-gallon or larger tank should be provided. The bicolor dottyback will not be intimidated, or imitated either by other fish, and will defend its territory against fish 2 to 3 times its size. Look out, bullies. It will also eat ornamental shrimp and is a predator of nuisance bristleworms, which is cool. That's awesome. The diet should consist of meaty foods, including brine, shrimp, and prepared frozen foods. All right, so there you have the bicolor dottyback. Let's see if there are any customer testimonials. There are. Gosh dang. Thank goodness. All right. Esther Herbert from Harvey, LA says, nice colorful fish, LSU colors. My husband is a big LSU fan. It is delightful. Wait, she's from Harvey, Louisiana. Did I say Los Angeles? That's silly. Harvey, Louisiana. Oh, she's like down south. Nice colorful fish, LSU colors. My husband is a big LSU fan. It is delightful. She's a woman too. Bold and appears to get along with its own kind, as I have more than one. I would not recommend having more than one of these. I don't know why she said that. The next person, Xander S., is from Kremling, Ohio. I don't have an Ohio accent. Beautiful little fish, and it is reef safe. However, it is not safe for shrimp and other small fish or timid fish. It has killed 2 shrimps. Dang, yo, it's savage. Savage. All right. Oliver W. from Morgantown, West Virginia said the fish has color and character. It also seems to be quite curious about human onlookers. Although it likes to hide out in caves or crevices a lot of the time, it will readily come out and stare down anyone who approaches the tank. It has a very captivating, human-like stare. So there you go. Basically, everyone in the testimonial. Oh, wait. Okay, I got one more. I got to do this one. John L. from Manhasset, New York. I got this fish about a week ago. It is a little jerk. It is in a 54 gallon. That's interesting. A 54-gallon tank with 2 clowns, 2 chromises, and 1 damsel. It chases the other fish all the time, although it does not hurt them and is greedy with food. I must admit that it is very colorful and nice looking though. So there you go from John L. So thank you to our fish of the week there, a bicolor dottyback, sponsored by. I'm not sponsored by, so not going to give them props again, but I did say the website already, so you can rewind it and listen to them if you listen to me say it, if you need to hear it. And I'm going to put a link to them anyway in the description. So anyway, thank you guys so much for checking out the podcast this week. I know I was a little bit scattered. I've kind of been busy, kind of been doing a lot. I sort of crammed this in between a couple different things going on today, and I managed to keep it under 35 minutes. So I'm just going to give myself a pat on the back. I'm going to brush this off and that one off too, because dab on all them haters or whatever the kids do today. But yeah, so thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you listen on podcast services, I'm going to put it up later soon for iTunes and the Google Play Store. And it's also on Podbean, which is where the podcast is hosted. And then it will be up on YouTube after that. If you are listening on YouTube and you have not subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate it if you could do so. And when you do, hit that little bell next to the subscribe button so you get notifications when I post new videos. I only post videos maybe once a week, maybe once every other week, so you won't get spammed with a lot of notifications from my channel. And I would really appreciate the support if you guys continue to keep checking out some of the videos that I post in the coming weeks. So, yeah, that's all I've got. I don't do my normal, hey, fish tank guys, see you next time outro on the podcast here. So I would just say I hope you guys have a good week, good couple weeks until the next podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you guys very soon. Take it easy.